not the worst oil company. The problem with Chevron is that they pretend that they're the best.
But let's talk about Chevron. Anti-union, anti-worker.
It's mind-boggling to the outside world to hear what's really going on this project.
We don't have jobs on these projects as our resource wealth is being extracted. We don't see any benefits of this boat. None at all.
The roar of thousands of workers fighting for local jobs, for local people.
Thousands of union protesters took to Perth streets today against the US oil and gas giant Chevron importing cheap foreign labour.
Big resource companies are hiring cheap overseas workers and paying them as little as $3 an hour.
This campaign is about training. It's about jobs for your kids. It's about the right for every worker in Australia.
What we're doing here is to set the matter straight, not only by anecdotal evidence, not only by personifying what the Maritime Union is, but through the BIS shrapnel, we have gone out, done forensic work ourselves, objective work ourselves that demonstrated a lot of the dissembling and in fact the distorting about wages and productivity of the Australian workforce.
An independent study by BIS Shrapnel found that the wages of maritime workers make up less than 1% of the cost of building Gorgon. It found the Australian Mines and Metals Association's claims about MUA wages were exaggerated by more than 40%. And another independent study found that the best opportunity for savings on LNG projects could be found in better management practices.
We don't want to attack Chevron, just the opposite. We want to get down and work with them in those areas we can control and that we've got partnership with them to be able to ensure that that productivity continues to be continuous, not one-off. That's what we've been about for 40 years and that's what we want to be about for the next 40 years with Chevron.
There is a huge cost overrun and time delays in relation to the biggest construction project in the world in the oil and gas industry. Currently, Chevron are blaming basically labour and labour unions for both the cost blowouts and the time delays, and it's pretty apparent that that's simply not the case. That is an overly simplistic argument, which, if not resolved, will never fix the problems we have in respect to both time delays and cost blowouts on the project.
At the end of the day, what we've heard here is something we've seen in California for years. Whether it's legislation, whether it's how they deal with the regulators, and how they found loopholes in what we have, process safety management. They're going to do whatever they can. They're going to either throw as much money at it as they can. So we have to stand together and fight against companies like that. I'll let you guys know we're committed to do what we can to help support you guys. At our next union management meeting, the Workers' Committee will be going in wearing MUA t-shirts.
There's a couple of camps that people fall into. The people who have no hope, they say it's too hard, don't do it. And the other group of people who say to us, well, you know, they're a really big company, they're just too afraid, they've been beaten down before. And what the MUA in Western Australia and what the ITF, through frankly the pushing of the MUA in Western Australia have said is that we do not shy away from big fights. We do not shy away from this fight because it's these kind of fights that define who we are as a movement, and we won't survive as a union movement if we're not prepared to take on big employers and teach them that this is not the way to behave. If we can't rehabilitate them in Western Australia, we will not rehabilitate them in any other place in Asia where we want to organise, in other places in the world. And to bring it back to Mike, we are so excited to find you as comrades in this struggle. We will reach out to any community, any environmental group, any group of workers who are trying to stand up to this company, because as a global coalition of communities, environmental groups and workers, we really can push back against this company and win.
Solidarity. Solidarity. Solidarity.